per day can shorten your life. And not only just that, it turns out that your brain doesn't really have an age. It has at least 2, depending on how you measure them, and your brain could be very mature for your age. That makes me sound like a Minecraft YouTuber. All of this began in the early days of modern science, when biologist E.C. Hammond was exploring potential causes for the cryptic mechanisms behind cancer. He was monitoring a group of patients for drug intake, the amount of time spent doing physical activity, the color of their favorite furry, and the amount of time they spent sleeping each day. And in a small section of his very rigorous paper lacking any number whatsoever, he mentions a very concerning pattern related to sleep. Hammond was very brilliant. He's known as the first human to ever show some common sense by advancing the hypothesis that smoking could turn your lungs into briskets. So you'd think that the concern of someone oh so wise would lead the way for a new movement of research around the links between sleep and health. But for that, we would have to wait until the common sense pandemic of 1979, when a completely normal doctor called Daniel F. Kripke decided to put some numbers to the original claims first moved by Hammond. Kripke found out that if a man gets less than 4 hours of sleep per night, he should probably talk to someone about it. But also, he would be 2.8 times more likely to die than a regular sleeper in the next 6 years. A similar pattern also affects women, but to a much less extent. And more importantly, getting 10 or more hours of sleep per night was linked with a 1.8x increase in mortality, regardless of what's in your pants. These values are all kind of wrong. But not by much. And also, it was the 1980s United States. They had just realized that workplace sexual harassment should not be legal. Kripke himself also called for much more sophisticated research, the kind that would benefit from future technology. Now, he's also having a fear-mongering campaign on sleeping pills, but they're fine. Catch. Wake up, wake up. We are in that future Kripke wanted, okay? We have the technology, the study's being made. Is that a boner? Ah! This study is massive. They tracked hundreds of thousands of people for decades until they all turned into Minecraft bone meal. Then they analyzed the relationship between sleep and mortality. No, they didn't actually do that. That would take like 50 years and tons of democracy bringers. If you take a picture of an organ through an MRI machine, you can use some clever computer magic to find the age of the organ. Now, if my liver looks 20 years old, it means it's younger than me and it's in pretty good health. And if it looks 60, I'll get to play GTA 6 earlier. Something similar can be done with blood samples. You could analyze the composition of this vial to determine the age of my heart, lungs, or brain, which is where this whole procedure kinda starts falling apart like a Jake Paul crypto scam. Now, short and long sleep are associated with some terrible conditions like heart complications, type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, substance abuse problems, another 40 or so life-ruining conditions, and lower back pain. Long sleep in particular seems to be associated with a plethora of scary conditions that fall under the medical term of brain rot. Speaking of rotted brains, I know you're thinking about closing this video. 50 and 40%, that's it. Short sleepers are 50% more likely to die at any given moment, and long sleepers are 40% more likely to do so. That's it, we're done. The brain's a little up, okay? The brain's a little... Remember the 2 kinds of snapshots? Well, if you read your brain's age using MRI and then repeated the same thing with blood protein levels, the results would look identical. No? What the f*** do you mean they don't align? It's the same brain! That's how I first reacted when I discovered that the ages don't match. Because social media gave me ADHD Pro Max and I couldn't be bothered to keep reading the rest of the paper for an explanation. Number 1. The physical structure of your depression machine is the result of years of compounded sleep patterns. So, if you slept well for most of your life and only recently got into 3 AM gooning sessions, your brain will still look crisp, unlike your conscience. But proteins are kinda crybaby snowflakes, and so they rapidly respond to your new hobby by throwing a tantrum and getting dysregulated. The alternate hypothesis is that when you start getting sick, the whiny little proteins pick up on the damage sooner, and they start requiring longer nights of rest to return to an equilibrium, whereas your physical brain structure might still appear young and healthy and still recover with shorter sleeps, even though you are about to phase out of existence. The researchers lean towards the first hypothesis. Kinda overshot there, but it's unproven. There could be other reasons, like, for example, excessive sleep causes anxiety, which worsens your health, makes you live shorter, or it could be the exact opposite. Or maybe, you have 2 children, you should stop with the cocaine. But the important discovery is another one. Sleep might soon become a very important diagnostic tool for a plethora of very serious and scary conditions. And when you combine it with the myriad of data points we already have, it could meaningfully change the life of many, many people. So take care of your sleep. What are you doing? Put it back in! Put it...